So the decisions that they want to make and have full control over could vary. Um, and also, you know, discuss what you want to do with future restaurants. Do you want to allow investors to participate, for example, in future deals, have options to do those things?
What key factors should I consider if I'm negotiating a partnership agreement with investors or co-owners in my venture?
Yeah. So look, when you're negotiating these partnership agreements, there's a lot of things that you want to consider. But I think first, zooming out for a second, I think you want to consider how the restaurant's going to be capitalized. That's usually the most important question because that's the biggest differentiator between the operators and the investors. So if look, restaurants could be capitalized a number of different ways. You can put money in yourself. You can raise money from investors. You can take out a loan and have no investors. You could maybe be getting money from your landlord and tenant improvement dollars. So there's a number of different ways to build a restaurant and to do that. I think the first decision you got to make is how you're funding it. So once you make that decision, then the series of next questions comes into play. For example, how do I want to treat my investors? Do I want my investors to get all of their money back, which, I said before, is a typical restaurant deal. Maybe 100% of the profits or the cash flow goes to the investors until they're made whole. Then after that period of time, the owner keeps 60%, 50%, whatever the business deal might be. So kind of understanding how the money coming in the capitalization is the first piece. The next piece is really how are decisions going to be made? And this is probably the most negotiated part of any agreement for a business. If you are raising money from one investor who's putting up all the dollars, it's probably likely that one investor is going to want to have a little bit more say in what decisions are made, how decisions are made, so on and so forth, as opposed to maybe having 10 people that put in smaller amounts that, they don't have as much money at stake. So they're a little bit more comfortable with, the operator making all decisions or making a larger portion of the decisions. So, the decisions run from who's going to pick the name of the restaurant and the menu, which, you would think that you would give it to the talent, but a lot of times that gets negotiated.
Sure.
To, what happens, who gets to make the decision to sell, or who gets to make the decision to what hours we're open or what meals we're open for. So these are all things that you want to discuss. Depending on how the partnership works, if there's any special areas of talent that people have, for example, you might have a back of the house person that's running the restaurant, you might have a front of the house person running the restaurant. So the decisions that they want to make and have full control over could vary. And also, discuss what you want to do with future restaurants. Do you want to allow investors to participate, for example, in future deals, have options to do those things? There's no shortage of decisions that could be made.
Yeah. So make sure you're really, folks listening, make sure you're really, savvy when it comes to both your partnership agreements and your operating agreements, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one trap that some people fall into is they, look, I mean, they're not experienced in these types of things, and they shouldn't be. This is not, this is not, what they do.
Right.
So, thinking that an operating agreement is just an operating agreement is really, that's not true, right? An operating agreement is a type of document that is really the instruction manual for your entire business. So you can write it however you want. And each business deal has different nuances to it. I mean, we've done hundreds of restaurants in my office. I would say maybe some of these agreements are similar to each other, but I don't think any two are the same.